All right, folks, we are up to fly number 21 and the final one from Tying the Founding Flies by Mike Valla. This is another Catskill pattern. It's called the Woodruff. And I tied this for the channel a few years ago, and I went into the full history of this back then. Now, we don't know who created the fly, but a guy named Chester Mills, who ran a tackle company in New York City, gave a handful of these to Johnny Woodruff and told him to try them out next time he went up to fish in the Catskills. And Woodruff was a member of the Brooklyn Fly Fishers Club. They were up on the Beaver Kill one night in 1920. Nothing was working for anybody, but this fly worked well for Johnny Woodruff, so they named it after him. Now, I love patterns like this. It's a very simple, just a tail, thin body, some upright hackle tips for the wing, and then a collar hackle up front. So it's pretty reminiscent of an Adams, and if you can tie an Adams, you can definitely tie this thing. So when would this one work that, say, an Adams wouldn't? I really don't know. Who knows what the fish are thinking any given day? But we know one night in 1920 when nothing was working for anybody, this one worked for Johnny Woodruff. So there it is in the vise, a Woodruff, a pretty standard looking Catskill dry fly. Now, one critique on this one, I think those wings are just a little bit too short. I mean, if you're going to go through the trouble of catching in hackle tip wings, you know, make it worth your time. Make them a little bit, at least up there to the top of the collar hackle. So sizes for this are 12 to 16. That's a 12, one extra long barbless dry fly hook. And tan thread, it's a 70 denier. I'm going to catch it in somewhere in the first third here. Now, speaking of hackle tip wings, this one calls for Grizzly. And with my thread about a third of the way back, catch it in both of these. And remember that one in the beginning, I don't think they were high enough. So I'm going to check this one. Okay, I think that's a little bit higher. We'll make that one work. So a couple extra securing wraps right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my thread to the back and catch in my tail. We could have propped those wings up right now, but I think it's a little easier to do your tail when those wings are still laying flat. So Grizzly hackle barbs, kind of long. It is a Catskill style, and maybe 10 or 12 of these guys right here. Okay, I think that's going to be long enough. Now I do have a bunch of curlies up here, but since I have a kind of fuzzy body, I'm just going to bury these right here and move on. Okay, now we're going to prop the wings up. Now you could have spent some time trying to get the concave sides together and, you know, the dark out. But since we're going to be splitting them anyway, I don't think it's all that important. Now you'll probably get some barbs still going forward, but let's prop this up about 90 degrees here. Okay, that's not quite 90 degrees, so let's take a few more wraps going back. Okay, that's close enough, but you can see all those barbs going all over the place. We'll take care of those as soon as we split these. And I want them about 30 or 40 degrees. So I'm going to do a couple X wraps forward to back right there. Now pull this one down. I'll do a couple back, or I think that's forward to back on that side. But now take a look at your wings. Okay, they're split about what I want, but I do have a lot of this excess right here to trim. And you don't have to be too precise with this because, you know, we're going to put a lot of collar hackle on it. But a little bit of trimming will make our head cleaner when we're done. Okay, that's definitely kind of shaggy. Look at that middle of that body, but I'm not going to worry. I'm going to take my thread right back here in front of this tail and put a little wax on it. And the body we're dubbing is Rabbit. A little bit of brown olive with just a little bit of pale yellow mixed in. Now let's see if I've got enough here. I want a noodle, maybe 3 inches to get me back right behind that wing. Okay, I think I definitely have enough here. Hopefully I don't have too much. But let's go ahead and wrap this up and spend the time to get a taper if you want. A lot of these mayflies do have a slender body, but it gets a little bit tapered up here toward the thorax. And now let's pick our brown dry fly hackle. So I've got this one right here. I don't know if this one's going to work, Here's what I do. I just hold it around. Instead of using a hackle gauge, I pull it around, and that's a little too long, so I'm gonna pull it until I get to about the length I want, which is about right there. But this feather, if I caught it in right there, that's how much I would have left, so that one's no good. Let's try another one. Okay, how about this one? That's immediately too short. All right, maybe third time's a charm. Let's see if this one's gonna work. Okay, yeah, I think so. That might be a little long, so I'll pull it around till I get the length I want. Okay, and I got plenty of this feather left to tie around it. Now, one thing you can do with any dry fly like this is my dry fly hackle. I've stripped a few extra barbs off from the leading edge. And that doesn't always work, but sometimes it helps that first wrap or two to not have the barbs pointing backwards. So let's take a few wraps forward of the wings to really catch this stem in before we snip this excess off here. And now we'll wrap this. I want probably 3 wraps behind it and then 2 or 3 in front of it. So you see that, how those barbs are, for the most part, sticking straight out. It's kind of what I'm going for here. There'll be a few of them pointing back. Yep, there's a couple, but yeah, we'll be all right. Now I'm just gonna pull these forward. I can use these hackle wraps to help position those wings if they weren't perfect to begin with. I think I'm gonna go with 4 up front. Okay, yeah, that should work right there. We'll catch this off. Trying to be careful not to trap too many fibers going forward. I do have a couple, but nothing that our scissors can't handle. So let's snip this excess right here. And I'm going to just pull everything back, not far, just back enough to create a flat little spot right here for my whip finish. Don't want these barbs pointing back, angled back. We want them sticking out perpendicular. And I think that's it right there, but we've got room for our whip finish, so let's go ahead and do that. Now I'll go in here and just poke that through. Take a look, do I have any cleanup here? I've got 1 barb right there I'll probably take care of. And then drop a head cement, this thing's good to go. So that's it, my friends. I appreciate you watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.